Okay.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name's Annette, and I am here with a bunch of different people. Actually, one different person, Cathy, from Our Turn podcast. And this is your first time on video chat, so this will be fun.
It is. Yes.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and just introduce ourselves first. So then, Cathy, since you're our guest, if you can please introduce yourself.
All right. My name is Cathy Ford, and I am the host and producer of Our Turn, uh, Gaming for Everyone. It's a podcast. And like Annette said, this is my first time doing video. Normally, I don't have people looking at me. um, but I live in Sacramento, California, and have a husband and 2 dogs and a whole bunch of games.
Very cool. Yeah, so and Caryl, if you can introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, so I'm Caryl. I do some content here on To Die For Games, on top of working with Leader Games and some other content creation. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as at Caryl Has No Tan. I mean, you're used to that by now. It's not funny anymore. You don't have to give me pity laughs.
No, it's not funny.
It will always be funny, Caryl. And my name, I'm Annette. I go as Nettersplays all over Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I also have a little, I guess I'm part of the Dice Tower board game breakfast under Applied Mechanics. And that's something I've been doing for almost a year now. So
Wow.
I'm pretty
It's been a
proud of that.
while.
Yeah. So I didn't realize I was on it for so long, but yeah, I've been doing that for quite a while. But you could follow me all over the internet as Netters Plays. And then Mandi?
Oh boy. So I'm Mandi, also known as the board gaming pinup girl when I decide to actually do it. And I'm on To Die For Games, as well as the Dice Tower. And many of you probably have not seen me as much, but heard me on the Dice Tower podcast with Suzanne Sheldon.
Cool. Yeah, and also, so today we're here, we're basically going to talk about Kickstarter games and kind of go over some of the games that we like, some of the games that we're backing, what we're looking forward to, and such. But first, before we get into our main topic, we're going to talk about the games that we recently played. So I'm going to go ahead and hand the mic over to Caryl.
Okay.
I always guess at this part. So, Caryl, what game have you recently played?
I haven't played too many lately, sad to say, but there is one. There is one that I've played for probably 2 days straight, and it's Stuffed Fables. So it's the Plaid Hat Games miniature game that's made by the designer of Mice and Mystics. It's where you play as these little stuffed animal heroes, and you're trying to protect your little girl from this nightmare king who's trying to, create nightmares and prevent her from growing up and all these little anecdote-y things. It's super cute because you're basically playing in a storybook. So instead of like tiles and stuff you get in Descent or other like dungeon crawly kind of games, you're literally playing inside of like a campaign book that's like about this thick. It folds out and you move your miniatures and everything there. It tells you like the scenarios, the objective, and then you just kind of play through it like that. And apparently there's multiple endings. I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm having a blast with it so far.
Nice. I've heard good things about that one.
I really like it. Yeah.
Is it for kids? Because it was one that I was looking at, and then I know Eric Summer was telling me about it, and he loves it, and Suzanne loved it, and now you're saying you really enjoyed it. Would you say it is more geared towards children, or?
It could be for both, to be honest. Like, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter or social just playing it as a family with their kids, and it's easy enough for kids to be able to jump into it, but as a group of adults playing a campaign game, like, you can absolutely do that as well.
Okay.
What age kids?
I think Jamie Maltman on Twitter has his kids 8 and 9, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know he is currently playing. Don't quote me on that. I think he is. But I mean, you could essentially play it with someone as young as 5 or 6 because you're literally drawing dice from a bag, and since it's cooperative, you can kind of like help each other out, and it's not like they're kind of playing, I don't know, Agricola on their own. You know what I mean?
Right. I always see him playing with his kids too, and I'm like always surprised at how kids pick up games easily.
Yeah, right?
I'm like,
I feel
these games are so
embarrassed.
difficult, and then kids are just playing it like nothing. So, what game have you played, Cathy?
Mark and I, my husband Mark and I, have been playing the heck out of Terraforming Mars lately. It's become one of those games that he and I know how to play it, and nobody has to figure anything out. So when we just want to de-stress and sit down and play a game, that one hits the table a lot. And we've been exploring the Venus Next expansion, and then we've also been playing Sagrada quite a bit. We just got a copy of Sagrada not too long ago, and that has become Mark's new big favorite game, which just surprises me. And then the other one that we're finishing up with one group and starting with another group is Charterstone. We just finished a campaign with one group, and my co-host Sarah, her and her husband wanted to start a campaign, and so we've joined their group, and we're just getting started with that. So that's been fun.
Fantastic. Sagrada is a good one. It's one that I wish I played more often. My copy was loaned out before in shrink before I even tried it. So I played other people's copies, but I love the way it looks, and it's really easy to teach. It's just fun to just get out on the table and play it. So that's an amazing one. I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like those games like Terraforming Mars, where kind of sometimes when Mitch and I would get home late, it's like we don't really want to learn a game. It's like we want to get into something we already kind of know, and that way we can just set it up easily and just get right into the game. So
yeah, and I'm trying to explore how to get better at it. I never win this game.
Like when Terraforming Mars?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not in it. I rarely win any game. So, but I've played this game often enough that you'd think I'd have a higher win-loss ratio, but no. I think I've won maybe 2 games of it, and I've probably played it, I don't know, 20 or 30 times. So
really, see, it's funny. So many people love Terraforming Mars. I don't.
You don't?
I don't know why I don't like it. It's not a bad game, but I think like I'll play it if someone wants to play it. But the last time I played it, a friend of mine wanted to play with all the new expansion. That game took like over 3 hours.
Oh yeah, I was there. Yeah.
Oh, you were there. Yes. Okay.
So we were at a game day one day, and I was meeting some friends at the library game day to play Firefly, which everybody knows is a really long game.
I love that game.
And on another table, some people we know were setting up Terraforming Mars, and it was this one gal, and she was teaching like 3 or 4 new people who had never played it before. We managed to finish our Firefly game before they finished their Terraforming Mars game. And I was just like, okay, something here is just not right.
Right.
Really? Because Firefly can be pretty lengthy.
Especially with all the expansions. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we always play with all the expansions. And that game, our game of Firefly took us about, I don't know, 3.5, 4 hours, which is a short Firefly game to begin with. Their Terraforming Mars game took them 5 hours. Easy.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, I would believe it after our little play we had there, Caryl.
Yeah.
It was long.
I didn't want to do any terraforming. I just wanted to get all these different cards and
do the cards. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've played a game like that. It was when I first started playing it. There was like 5 people in the game, and I remember there was like when it first came out, there was like 10 people around the table. They all wanted to play the game, and I was like, all right, it only goes up to 5. So who was here first? I'm definitely playing. And then I taught everyone, and oh my God, it took forever.
Yeah, no, it takes a while.
So now it takes like me about an hour and a half to play it.
Right. So we went over to a friend's house recently, and he's planning to run Terraforming Mars at a con that's coming up here in Sacramento. But he wanted to do a variant because he loves variants, and he's printed out all the fan-made corporations as well. And so he wanted to do it where each player had 3 corporations that they could pull from.
Oh, wow.
You only get the money of the highest one. Whoever offers the most money, that's the money you get, but you get the abilities of all 3 corporations. And so that kind of put a little bit of a different twist on it. And that was a game that I did win because I had two corporations that just went crazy on plants. And I had another corporation that actually allowed you to move oceans, which was crazy. Yeah. And you could put them in non-ocean places. So that was kind of fun. And like I said, that was one game that I did win, but I'm not going to play it with 3 corporations all the time. So it's just an interesting variant.
Cool. Yeah, a game that I've recently played was Hardback. So I don't know if any of you have played it yet.
I have it in Shrink.
Okay, and if you know about the game, it's a Tim Fowers game that is a word game, and I am terrible at word games. Like Scrabble, like my aunt would always beat me, and English was her second language, and like she would always make fun of me and be like, I learned like Spanish before English, and I still beat you at Scrabble. So I've ever since then I've just hated word games, but I gave this a shot because it's a deck builder, and I love deck builders. So, and I actually was surprised at how much I liked it. Like, I played paperback a while ago, and I was like, oh, it's all right. And then I played hardback, and I was like, okay, this is something more or less like Star Realms, the word game. And I love Star Realms because has this moving market where like you buy cards, and then there's a new cards that come up for sale. And at first I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy these big cards because it'll give me lots of points. But then they're like the letter Z's and Q's. And I'm like, I wasn't thinking about it as a word game. I'm like, what word am I going to make with Z's and Q's? Like, so it kind of was like, oh, okay, I could play it as a deck builder, but I also have to, be smart about what I was purchasing for the words.
Yeah, I heard it's more gamer-esque, the hardback. Like I have paperback. I play with my mom because she loves word games. So for her, like that's like my go-to for her. But yeah, I'm interested to try hardback because I heard it's basically paperback, but then they've amplified it to make it more, I guess, toward gamers, whatever that means. But I did hear it's like a Star Realms type word game.
Yeah, it's Star Realms like because it has that moving market. And then it also has like in Star Realms, you have different factions. So if you have like the same factions that come out, they kind of promote one another and offer special abilities. But so it has that too. Like if you have 2 mystery cards, then they kind of synchronize and do special stuff. But you have to spell out words with them. So it's kind of you have to get the good letters. You might have to get an A or an E, like a vowel, and then a higher cost letter. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Very cool. Definitely want to need to get to the table myself.
Yeah, maybe with your mom.
Yeah, exactly. Cross our fingers.
So what have you been playing, Mandi?
Well, I conveniently have it located right here. I had a game night last night, so I played a few things, but this is one that made it to the table. So let's see if I can get it. It's not glary. Space Freaks. So this is by Stronghold Games. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. It was new to me until I received a copy. And I have to tell you, initially, didn't look like my type of game because it's one of those, I don't know if you'd consider it like a skirmish, but it's one of those kind of battle type games. So you have on the board, it looks like those kind of war type games, with the hexagons. And as soon as I saw that, I went, ugh. Because every time I play those types of games, I generally don't have a very good experience with it because it looks so dry. And then when we started playing it, all the people I was playing with were like, this game, I don't know if I'm going to like this game. They were complaining the whole time. To be fair, we started playing it and it was a lot of fun. Now, Caryl, this is totally your type of game.
Yeah, I remember us talking about this before because you can like customize your freak and like add these different parts, right?
Yeah, so like I had one had like a robot body, and then it had like tentacles for legs, but every kind of body part did different things. Like it could give you like defense, or it gives you more attack or more range. It just had some really cool bits. The only thing that I was disappointed is that you couldn't change. Like, I mean, it could happen once in a while, but you couldn't change your freak, which I don't really like that term. I don't know why it bothers me, but you couldn't really change it in the game. You were kind of stuck with that. I almost wish they had something that like randomly made you change parts and then you had to work with those parts. But basically what you're trying to do is battle everyone else on the board and try and knock them out to get more points. That's really what it comes down to. And there are cards to kind of help you do that and objectives that you're trying to reach. So it's fairly straightforward. I liked it better than I thought I would. So that's something. And I definitely would play it again. Our group, out of the 4 of us, I would say 3 of us thought it was good, and then there was one that was like, no, it's just not for me. And that's cool. I mean, it's that type of game where it may not be for everyone. It definitely has that kind of feeling to it. You're either really into it or you're just not. So I'm looking forward to trying it again. Caryl, maybe I'll bring it to Breakout.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know she's gonna destroy me, so I don't know why I'm suggesting that, but I'll do that. And then quickly, another game that I played was a Column of Fire. So it's part of the trilogy of Pillars of the Earth. The other one is escaping me right now. And then they have Column of Fire. I have actually not played Pillars of the Earth, but I would really like to, because it's one that people have talked about and it's been around for a long time. But Column of Fire almost reminded me a little bit of that game, Michael Strogoff. Have you guys played this before? Or have you ladies played this before?
No.
I hadn't played it until Robert Geislinger showed it to me from the Dice Tower, and it's a really light kind of racing game, but there are some elements in it that, you know, can cause you to get attacked by this like one character that's on the board. It's not the same in Column of Fire, but it really had a similar elements in the game, but it is a racing type game, and you have cards that you can activate to use their powers, and then there's a kind of a bit of not really area control, but you're trying to boot people out of certain areas, and it's the Protestants and the Catholics, and I'm like, I'm Catholic. I'm like, I feel kind of wrong. Should I feel wrong that I'm now becoming a Protestant?
Oh gosh.
Sometimes you have to do that in order to win the game. So you know, because you can't score if it's Catholic as the majority and you're Protestant. Well, unfortunately, you're going to get burned down and kicked out and you don't score. So things like that. So again, another game, Caryl, that I think you would enjoy.
Please bring it. Also, Chris Rowan brought up what the second one was called, World Without End.
World Without End.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Chris in the chat is my coworker. Actually, we play games together at work. So thanks for joining us, everyone in the chat. Anyway, so those are a couple of the games I played. I don't know why I seem to be in like attacky games this weekend, but that was the mode. So yeah.
Tacky.
Yeah. So how many players did you play that with?
So all the games we played at 4. So we played Space Freaks at 4 and Column of Fire with 4. I definitely think it's one of those games. I haven't played it with less, but I've heard people play it with 2, and they said it was fine with 2. But you definitely get more of that attack element with higher player counts.
Yeah, actually, I'm thinking about playing it today.
Are you?
Yeah, I have it. I was actually had it on my list of games to play today. I know the theme kind of throws people off because of the whole Catholic and Protestants thing. So it's kind of hard for me to kind of tell people like, hey, you want to play this cool game about like Catholics versus Protestants?
I know, right? It's like,
no.
And then my friends, when they saw the board, they were like, what kind of game is this? They're like, oh, like, I don't think I'm going to like this. And then they started playing it. They're like, oh, no, this is good. I like it.
Yeah. I like the whole dice rolling, and then it like ticks. It's like a timer for these characters.
So it gives you options, right? So if you are a Catholic and your die is ticked down to 1 by the time it gets your turn, you now have to re-roll it, and then you have a choice of, do I want to stay a Catholic or do I want to switch to a Protestant? When you first start playing, it seems silly because you're like, okay, I don't get it. You will once you notice that you start getting your little houses on the board, and in order for you to score, you need to have the crosses of that religion in that area, the majority. So if Catholic is scoring in a certain area and you're Protestant, you get burned down, booted out, and no points. So a lot of decisions.
Yep. So I've been wanting to play it. I'm gonna play it. I'm like, oh, it's a Euro game. Like, I don't care about the theme.
Exactly.
So that was Column of Fire?
Call of Fire, yes.
Okay.
Call of Fire.
I hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah, it just came out. I don't think there's been much buzz about it, but
No,
yeah.
I don't think so either. I haven't heard too many people talk about it. I received it maybe about a month ago, but I just got it to the table yesterday, and so people are probably in the same boat. They may have received a copy, just haven't played it yet. So
did I hear that Pillars of the Earth just got a new edition?
I heard that. I don't know. Is it released?
Yeah, I think I've seen it at Games of Berkeley.
Because I would love to get a copy. I know that I had heard that it was coming. It was being re-released. I just didn't know when.
Okay, yeah. That's one that I love the book and the miniseries, and so now I want to play the game.
Exactly. See, yeah, that's like exactly where I am.
Right. Cool. So let's get into our topic for today, which is Kickstarter. So we'll just go ahead and talk about generally like our purchasing habits, like how often we purchase Kickstarters, whether we're backers or why we're not. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and start, I'll start actually. So I do tend to back a lot of games, like a lot. I actually went into my Kickstarter page and I found out that I've backed 79 games. Yeah, and I don't really back anything else but games.
Oh, I'm the same way.
Yeah, so that's a lot of games that I back, but I did find out that I kind of hold back. I've kind of been holding back on it this year because one, I don't have the shelf space anymore like I did before. And the second thing is that at the beginning of the year, I kind of noticed a trend where all these games come out and there's like so much of it that it's really hard. It's becoming harder for me to pick and choose which ones I think will actually succeed or be like something that I will like. Because I've received so many like that I backed just on the whim and I didn't like after playing it. And it was kind of a disappointment. So now I'm being a little bit pickier with what I choose. So yeah, so let's go through the line and see how often you guys buy games, or if you guys don't even buy games, then why not?
I'm just gonna jump in for a second, just in the chat here, to make you feel better, Annette. Curtis saying checked this morning, and I've backed almost 100 games.
Oh gosh! All right, well I don't feel that bad.
Like honestly, it's not bad.
Oh, see, so it's not so bad. I'm not even close to any of you. I'm not even gonna lie, but still.
Yeah. So how many games? We'll start with you, Caryl.
Okay.
So how many games do you back them often?
I do more than I should, to be perfectly honest. I mean, like, there's just so many, and honestly, the fear of missing out is just so strong sometimes. It's like when people tell you, oh, this is Kickstarter only, it's like, okay, I'll go all in. Great. And then, yeah, so I'm looking right now on my Kickstarter page. It says I have 76 backed, but I've saved like 610, which is where you put the heart. And it's like, I'm going to keep an eye on this one. And these are probably the ones I'm like, okay, I don't have money. I'm just going to look for this later on. So even though it says I have 76 backed, I probably got them later at retail. So more or less, that's probably what I have. It's just that when you see games on Kickstarter, I love the exposure that they get. Like you get like a trailer, you get how to play videos, you get like such a detailed rundown of how they are, and it's just so hard not to back something that just sounds good. Like yeah. I don't know, like the most recent one is just like the Batman Kickstarter. That's $500 down the drain.
So much money.
Oh, sorry, 300.
I mean to say 500, like
sorry,
500.
I mean to say 300, actually.
Oh,
oh, that's better. Yeah. So I mean, okay. So I've been good this month because of that one project. So yeah. I mean, yeah. Don't judge me.
So you only backed Batman?
For this month. Probably for the next little while. Yeah. Too many bones.
3 months.
Yeah. I mean, I also did the all-in for Too Many Bones, and that one really put a dent too.
Yeah. Oh, Chris says, apparently Carol's looking at all the add-ons.
Yes. I mean, it's Kickstarter only. You just have to. You get a Batmobile and whatever.
Yeah, it's true because I do notice like with Kickstarters, they have the trailers, they have all the previews like Rado and all the blogs like What's Eric Playing and just all these people that you kind of trust with games and they're telling you it's a good game, you're watching the trailer, it looks awesome and you see the components that they're thinking of producing and it's like, oh, I just want it. And then it's just there. It's easy to click and just say, okay, I'll buy it, and then it'll show up on my door later.
Yep. Yeah. Do you ever forget? I back stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So, what about you, Cathy? Are you a Kickstarter backer?
I am very much a wannabe Kickstarter backer, but unfortunately, my budget doesn't accommodate my wishes to back everything that I would like to back, but I've backed 20 projects so far. All of them have been games except for 2. I backed 2 books that I got for my niece. One is called Steam Team 5, which is about getting girls interested in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And so they created female heroes in the story about in each of these girls is in each of these areas. And then the other book I backed was The Little Game Master, which is teaching kids about playing role-playing games. So I'm looking forward to getting that book and giving it to my little 3-year-old niece. But the rest are all games, and they're either RPGs or tabletop board games. So, the calendar, the 2018 calendar, I had to do that one too. But yeah, and then my co-host Sarah is a game designer with her husband Will, so I backed their game Oaxaca, which looks amazing, and I can't wait to play it. So
yeah, I backed that one too.
Yeah.
I wanted to back the customized little meeples, but I didn't, and I kind of regret it.
Yeah, doing the custom box and everything, I wanted to do that, but yeah, budget didn't allow it. But yeah, no, I judicious in it. Sometimes when I interview people on my show who are doing a Kickstarter project for their game, sometimes it just sounds really intriguing and different to me, and so I will back that one. I backed Bigfoot versus Yeti that way, and Stellar Leap, and the Tokyo series. Have any of you seen the Tokyo series on Kickstarter?
Oh,
yeah, the really minimal looking one that's like about different aspects of.
Yeah, it's 3 different games. One of which talks about or is gamifying Tokyo vending machine culture. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, that's different theme. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. That looked really intriguing.
Cool. And what about you, Mandi?
Well, I think I'm in the lower end of the backing spectrum. So I think I backed, wait, hold on. What does the telephone tell me here? I think it's pretty low. 52 backed, and I just cleaned out my saved list because my saved list had like 300. So now I'm down to 5 saved. But of those 52 backed, I do also try to support some other reviewers and things online. So like, Game Boy Geek and some other people. So I definitely try and do that as well. I have to be careful because I have a tendency to want to back, like I want the deluxe and I want, the big stuff, and that can get really expensive. And I have a house and a car and things like that. So I have to just lessen. And especially now that I'm traveling a lot more, when you travel away, you end up wanting to spend more money as well. So yes, Kickstarter and I check it daily just to kind of see what's going on, what's coming up, what's new, because I have to be current, right? Because I talk about these things, but then at the same time, I have to be like, no, look away, but don't back it. Just talk about it. And I have to tell people how good it is and I want it, but I can't have to try not to buy it if possible. Like that Harry Potter one we were talking about before. So for those in the chat, I don't know if you all know this, but we just found out that Harry Potter game that I'm sure people have been seeing everywhere, it is so gorgeous. I love Harry Potter. I want it so badly, is no longer going to be on Kickstarter. It's going to be pre-order at $400 US. I got to tell you, probably would have backed it on Kickstarter even if it was close to that. I don't know why I'm finding it so hard as a pre-order for $400. That being said, I need to just not back too much. But yes, I'm on the lower end of the spectrum.
Yeah, about the Harry Potter one, apparently Voldemort is a pre-order exclusive.
What? Right? Seriously?
Yeah, Voldemort. Yeah. Back on the table.
Oh, this is so horrible. And I'm not even like
after the show.
After the show, right?
Mandy's gonna pre-order it.
Don't tell my secrets.
Cool. So also wanted to talk about, since we've been backing games for quite a while now, what changes have you seen like implemented in new games? Like something that you've noticed in the past, like say, I don't know how long you've been backing for, like the last 2 or 3 years. Does anyone want to go first?
I'm in, Caryl.
Okay. So, I mean, I feel like games on Kickstarter can be a little bit riskier. Like when things go directly to retailer distribution, sometimes it's a whole lot of noise, if you know what I mean. Like it's just so hard to know what's good. But then you see all these like different things like I can never say it. Oaxaca? Is that how you say it? Like
Oaxaca.
Oaxaca, thank you. I know how it's spelled, but thank you. Things like that, like it's just so hard to draw attention to that if it just went through like normal distribution changes. And I just love how other games on Kickstarter, they could take on different themes, they can take on different mechanics. It's a good way to get direct feedback before something gets directly into print. Like I don't know if you guys saw, but the recent Werewords campaign, they made adding female villagers a stretch goal. And then from after all the feedback that they got on social media and then on their comment section, they just made it no longer a stretch goal, and they made it something just by default included in the game. And that's something that you wouldn't have seen, you know, in a non-Kickstarter game, because, you know, Kickstarter is like, okay, we're getting ready, it isn't printed yet, we're going to get feedback on either game, like theme, anything like that, and there's still room to change. But if it were on the shelf already, I mean, you're not going to see any of that. And it's just, you know, I feel Kickstarter has just created more of a community-based way to kind of influence these releases before they're even out there. And it's like, okay, so this is how it is. But now it's like, oh, you know, I don't really like this. I think you guys need to be more mindful of this. And people respond, and they're kind of more receptive to things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. When Ladder 29 was doing Kickstarter, my friend Sarah took a look at it. She is a Kickstarter addict, and she took a look at it and then decided to pass on it because there were some design things about the cards that would not have been conducive for her husband to play the game because he's legally blind. He has some vision, but he's considered legally blind, and he's also colorblind. And she mentioned that on Twitter, and they came back and said, okay, what can we do to fix this so that it is accessible in issues? And so this icon in the middle, put a little version of it up in the corner, and you know, that'll fix it. They did it, and both she and I backed it. That's
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that. I wanted to mention too, like with Caryl, how it's kind of like the community came out like against a woman being a stretch goal in a game. Like it should have never been done that way. It should have always been implemented. And I think the outrage kind of like provoked like them to actually acknowledge the fact that, hey, maybe we shouldn't have done that, and let's change it, because they could change it since it's such an early stage in the game that they could make those like adaptions. And I think that's a good like implementation with board games, and I think that's like a really positive change that we've been seeing in Kickstarter, where actually other people are seeing those changes. Like, of course, they're always going to have like the fantasy women that, you know, have no armor, and, you know, there are all these like breasts everywhere, but I don't know, like I don't know what that's ever, if that's ever going to change. But because of the small like werewolf thing, where it's just like, why don't you just have women there in the first place? Like, women live in villages too, come on. And so I think it's like a nice implementation that actually the audience was able to make changes and kind of help them acknowledge that.
I don't know if most people know this or not, but, you know, women have been roughly 50% of the population for quite some time now.
Yeah.
So yeah, including us in the games, you know, from the get-go is a good idea.
Yeah. So that's a really great point, how like the backers are actually having more of a say-so of what they want in the games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's good that they're being vocal about it, because we all know how change can be difficult, or, you know, speaking out about things can be difficult. So it's good to see that people are coming together and vocalizing it versus just kind of letting it slide. I think that's important, and that people are listening. I mean, we have to give that end of it as well, that people are saying, hey, we don't like this. And they in turn are saying, I understand, maybe that wasn't the best thing to do. And they fixed it. So they were, you know, they did at least pay attention. And I'm speaking in respect to a whole bunch of other things on Kickstarter that I've seen. So
yeah. So any other implementations you all have noticed too, or any changes for the positive?
I love the variety of themes that get put on Kickstarter, on games on Kickstarter, that I think a lot of publishers probably wouldn't take the chance with. You know, like I mentioned the Tokyo series earlier, you know, vending machine culture, you can make a game out of vending machine culture. But in looking at the videos, it looks like fun. And another one is, you know, building competing subway systems in Tokyo. You know, would a publisher have taken that chance? I don't know. But I like that these different themes are getting out there. Stellar Leap caught my eye because it's a light 4X game. I mean, you know, and I saw another one. Let me see. There was a game that I saw yesterday that is coming to Kickstarter. The City of the Big Shoulders. That is going to be a light 18XX game, but not about trains. It's going to be about rebuilding Chicago, but it's still the stock trading kind of game. So that's why I say it's an 18XX game, but it bills itself as a light 18XX game. So that might be a good introduction for people who haven't played those types of games, like me. So yeah, I think you would get a lot more variety. And yes, some games that you get from them aren't all that great, but others of them are amazing. So
Cool. And also James Braziel in the chat also mentioned the quality components and themes. And you mentioned themes like just the variation, but also the quality components like Druid City Games, the quality of the insert alone, like what? It's just like these minor little things and these stretch goals where they can actually do that. They make so much money, why not?
Right. The insert on Mechs versus Minions is amazing. I mean, you have 100 minions and they all have their own little spot in the thing, but you don't have to match them because the minion spots are designed to hold all 4 poses.
That's a smart idea, actually.
Yeah. Wow. So you don't have to go, okay, this pose goes here and this pose goes here. You just push them all into the insert and they all fall in and sort themselves. So, and one of my big irritations with game publishers is when they set up the box for shipping the game, but not for after you've punched it. You know, but I find with a lot of Kickstarter games, it's ready to go. I mean, it's set up to be stored as well as shipped. So, yeah, I think they're listening to us a lot more in the Kickstarter realm than they might be in the publishing realm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Fantasy Flight's never going to change their awful inserts. It's just insert gone, just stuff everything in the box for me.
Right. So then also, which games are you excited about receiving this year that you've backed recently? So what's on your wait list, Caryl?
Well, okay. So there's a few, but it's so hard to know if they're going to be good or not because like you hear like names, publishers and all that, but there's one by Vital Lacerda that is a bank heist game that sounds super good to me. The artist for it is Ian O'Toole, so he's done the board for Lisboa and stuff. But I mean, all you have to say is like Ian O'Toole, Lacerda, bank heist. Like I don't need to know more than that, to be honest. Like I'm afraid it might be something that's just like completely, I don't know, very Yuri and like heavy, but I mean, it has potential, I think. So it was that one and a legacy game that's coming out by Far Off Games. So it's by Cody Miller, who did the Zaya Forbidden Star Space 4X game. And he's doing a legacy role-playing fantasy game. But his idea is it's what's called a green legacy game. So instead of like having cards rip up and stickers put on pages and stuff, anything that is used as his legacy can be reset and then played again, is what his idea was. Plus, like, it's role-playing and fantasy. So
I saw that. I like that idea of the campaign game that you can replay. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
as much as I love ripping things up and putting stickers on things, it's like a one and done. And sometimes it's just hard to justify when so many legacy games are out there. It's like, well, you're gonna have to spend $70 on it, and it's like, which one do I break, or which one do I rip up? You know?
Yeah, so a game that I've recently am waiting for to come out that I backed last year was Role Player. So Role Player, I actually played, I think it was in May. I played that and it was a hit. Like I instantly caught on and I was like, oh, okay, I know what to do here. And then by the end of it, like I think I played it with Eric. I played Eric's copy. And I played his copy and he was like, I think you'll like this game. And I absolutely did. And I crushed everyone. And then I was like, I need this game. And then I realized that it's not for sale anywhere, that they were actually going to put up another Kickstarter. And so I backed it. And now I'm backing it with the expansion too. So I think it has like I don't know, some extra characters or monsters and such. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for that. I think I should receive it like in the next month or two, hopefully, fingers crossed. But have any of you played that game at all?
I've played it and I backed the same one as you did. So they had it where you could get Role Player right away and then get the expansion later. But for us in Canada, the shipping was ridiculous. So I just said, okay, I'll just wait till it all comes. Yeah, but is it late? I feel like it's late.
Yeah, it is a little late. I think we're supposed to get it in February, but because of like there was some issue with the cards, like they weren't matching the originals.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I'm like, I feel like that should have been here by now. Those are one of the ones I forget about, and then now that you mentioned it, I remember now that I backed it.
Yeah. So what about you, Cathy? Are you looking forward to anything?
Well, Oaxaca, Sarah's game Oaxaca, but there's a game that I backed called House Rivalry, and it's done in the New World Magiscola universe, which is sort of akin to the Harry Potter universe. It's like the Wizarding World, but in North America. And they do a live action whole weekend event back east where you get to play kids at a wizarding school, or they also have one that's Wizarding College. And they've turned it into a board game called House Rivalry. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Stellar Leap was the Light 4X game, space game. And then the Tokyo series I'm looking forward to just because the theme is so different. And then I just backed a role-playing game called Good Society, and it's based on the collected works of Jane Austen. So, yeah, looking forward to that. And yeah, Bigfoot versus Yeti as well. So, yeah, I'm looking
Let's
forward
go back to High Society. Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Good Society. Yeah, it's done by a couple of gals in Australia, and apparently big Jane Austen fans, and so they put together this role playing game, and it more than funded. They were asking for just about $3,200, and they got $123,000.
Wow.
So yeah, really
Good for them.
successful. And yeah, you're playing in British high society in Jane Austen's time. So yeah, I interviewed them. It sounded amazing, and yeah, I went and backed it because it just, again, it's a different theme, and I love it when games of any kind embrace a different type of theme.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
Leviathan
imagine the
is another
drama
one
too.
Yeah, absolutely. Leviathan is another game that I backed recently. It's a 2-player game, and it's based on Moby Dick. And you can either play the Pequot, which is the whaling ship that Ahab commanded, or you can play Moby Dick and his pod of whales. And it's a battle game against each other, and the player power is very symmetrical. So you can be the whale or you can be the whaler, and who's going to win? So. I love games that are either space themed or history themed. Looking forward, looking back, I guess. But yeah, those are the themes that really kind of catch my interest, and themes that I haven't seen before.
Yeah. So what about you, Caryl?
Okay, so I misheard you earlier.
It's okay.
About the Kickstarter games. I thought you said coming out, and then my brain just cut it off there. But yeah. So ones that I backed that are coming out that did have their campaigns and stuff that I'm absolutely looking forward to. I would say number one is Too Many Bones. Like I tried that. Oh man, maybe a couple months ago, and I just love the different characters, and I love how you could do one kind of like campaign in just like that's the playthrough. Like you go from like this skirmish here, and then like in about 3-4 hours, like you're just done, like a little mini story. And
can you bring that to Breakout? Like, I mean, I have it, but I can't transport it because it's so much. Can we do a play?
It hasn't delivered yet, Mandy. The question is the games that haven't delivered yet.
It hasn't. It's because I have too many notes. I'm so sorry.
You bring it, Mandy.
I can't carry that from Ottawa. It's so heavy. Sorry. Ignore me. Continue.
We need a hashtag bring it, Mandy.
That's a good one.
Starting
I like it.
Now. Yeah, so it's just a gorgeous game, and I love what they've done with that idea of like dungeon crawliness without having so many tiles and so many campaign books. It's like yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I still got to try that one. Like so many people have been saying that game is so good. I was like, oh, okay, might as well give it a shot.
Yeah, it's good. It's on my top 100.
Yeah, you should come over and bring it, Mandi.
Hashtag Brant Mandi.
That thing weighs like 80 pounds.
Canada, San Francisco. That's not too far.
Oh, yeah. Don't encourage it, Cathy.
Well, if you show up in San Francisco, I will be there too.
Okay, well, we can make plans. Oh, goodness. Well, as you guys are all talking, my list is so long. I'm like, oh, which ones do I want to mention? Actually, there's a few that I haven't received yet. So I'm looking at right now. Okay, hold on. So Brass is one that I'm very much looking forward to. Did any of you back Brass?
No.
No. Oh,
Yes.
So... I mean, it was a plus that it's, Canadian company, and heck, when a campaign's in Canadian dollars, I'm like, my eyes just light up. I'm like, yay, I don't have to convert anything. And that's actually how much it costs. And free shipping. Sorry, that just warmed my heart in just one breath. It was amazing. So I know Brass had existed before, but I had never played it. I'll be honest, when I look at campaigns, I'm an easy backer. Some people need to read the rules. Some people need to go through with a fine-tooth comb. I don't operate like that. I go on the page. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. Oh, that looks kind of cool. I'll watch a little bit of the video. Okay, I'm sold. Done. And can I tell you how many bad Kickstarters I've had? 2. So
you're getting better. Yeah.
So that's not bad considering. So Brass is on my list of ones that I'm I'm excited. Role player, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Caryl, do you remember Rise of Tribes?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so that was a fun one when we played. I'm still waiting for that one.
I feel like it's been a while since the campaign. I don't
it
know if
has,
it's
actually. I've received others that I backed before it, so I think it might be a little bit late. But that's one I'm waiting for. And Feudum.
Oh, yeah.
I remember hearing about that one.
That one looks pretty.
But I've heard things about it, and I'm worried because that was one where I put a lot of money into that one because I was like, oh, let's just go all out. The pieces, it looked really nice. I liked the idea. They had expansions, and I've been hearing mixed reviews about it. So I'm a little nervous.
Don't listen to it. Don't listen to the reviews.
I'm gonna feel really bad now if I get it and I'm like, but it looks really good.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Like the artwork on it, oh, it's like everything pops in the color scheme. Yeah,
I love it. So, those are just a few out of my lengthy list that I'm waiting for.
But don't forget the clay coins from Brass.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the reason for the delay, I think.
That is also true. Oh goodness. Anyway, that's all me.
I had the old Brass game and I didn't back it because I never played it, and I was like, if I haven't played the old version, why am I gonna buy the new one? So
is that the same thing with CO2? Because I know I backed CO2, but I don't know. I know people owned it before. Was that the same for you as well?
Yeah, well, I know people that have the old version, and I know they were going to get the new one. And because it's like semi-co-op, I was kind of unsure about it. But I like the theme. It's Vital Lacerda. It's Ian O'Toole. Like everything was just like checking the marks except for that semi-co-op. And I was like, I just can't check that mark off. I'm like, I don't know. And it's so much money. And there's so many other games. Like, what should I back? So
this is a busy month, I find, for Kickstarters. I have to admit, there have been quite a few good ones coming out. And from our little list we've been consulting, there are a lot more that are coming out that are going to be really good.
Yeah. That comes up to our next question. Like, which other ones are we looking forward to backing this next year? And I'm looking through the list that you sent me. I don't know if we have a BGG link to that list.
We do. I think we had put it before in another segment, but I can put it in the video afterward.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll actually even switch over to my screen share, and people want to see it. But keep going, and I'll can switch.
Yeah. So one that I'm looking forward to backing is Brazil. I've been waiting for this game for the longest time, and they keep on pushing it and pushing it, but I want to back it. It's part of the what's your what is it? What's your name? What's your game series? And it's the same designers that made Nippon, and I think Madeira too. And so I mean, I absolutely love this. I love how they have a certain like type of culture and apply like in the industrial revolution to it and kind of have new mechanisms apply to it. And so like I know Brazil is like about colonialism in Brazil, but it's also about the mining and the mining boom and how the industrial revolution like helped that and kind of grow and impact that country and make it prosperous. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, the theme is kind of cool, you know, and the designers are amazing. So this should be a really great game. And for some reason, like there's no date for the Kickstarter. So I don't know if it's even coming out this year or what, but if it's on Kickstarter this year, I'm totally backing that game.
Yeah, that was one that was on my list too. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. So I'm backing that one, and then also Sorcerer City too. So Sorcerer City is out right now. I haven't clicked the back button because I'm like I've been holding off on it, but I spoke with Scott Caputo yesterday, and he's a designer, and I was like, oh, your game's out right now. He's like, yeah, you should back it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna back it. So maybe just him just being there kind of like made me push the button a little bit. But no, it's a tile laying game where you kind of have this time element between players. So you have all these group of tiles, and then you have like 2 minutes to lay them out one after another. And then you're going to eventually end up with all of them done. And then you will gain certain types of money or influence points or whatever. And then with that, you can like purchase other tiles. And then it's a tile building game and it's timed again. And you go through like 4 rounds, I think it is. And it's out right now, Sorcerer City. But yeah, I was like, I don't know if I should back it. And then the more he was telling me about it, I'm like, I should definitely back it. And it's a Druid City game, so I know the quality is gonna be great too.
Well, the metal coins look really cool, and I think Chris, had mentioned that here. The metal coins look really neat. The interlocking stacks, so that's definitely something. I think that's pretty fun. So and really cool with the colors and stuff. Oh, I see Caryl has got the screen. I don't know why I can't do screen share on this one. I can do it on every other chat, but for some reason I can't find it on this one. So I'm going to stop talking and let Caryl kind of show you.
Yeah, I'll stop. I'll mute myself.
Well, I just have the screen for the BGG link on the list of Kickstarters that are coming out later this year. It's, I mean, do you guys want to narrate this?
Well, in order for it to stay up on your screen, I would narrate it, but for some reason I can't. I don't know why my screen share, it's just not happening right now. So you're going to have to just basically give a summary for people who are watching what.
Okay. Well, I completely forgot about that. So basically, we'll put the link on for this on the description for the video. But basically, it's just a list of everything coming out, a little bit about it. They all have their own board game link, so if you wanted to know more about it or add it to like your notifications or your watch list. Oh, D6. Sorry. It's about like 5 pages long, and it looks like it's like updated pretty frequently. So it's got stuff from Phil Uckland. I don't know what that is, but it's about 5 pages worth of upcoming games, and it looks like it's updated pretty frequently. So if you just like subscribe to this, you'll probably get notifications when things get added or things go live. So some of them, like this one, for example, they have their start dates and everything. So yeah.
Cool. Thanks for doing that. Sorry, for some reason it's not working on my computer. So cool. So sorry, where did we end off? I think we got sidetracked with looking at all those fantastic
So what about you, Cathy? What are you looking forward to backing?
Fire in the Library. That one.
Yes.
It looks like a beautiful game. It's a topic that intrigues me. It was inspired by the fire at Alexandria, at the library at Alexandria, but when I interviewed Tony Miller, the designer, he said that they kind of moved away from it being the fire at Alexandria, and it's just a fire in a library, but it still just intrigues me. And then there's one that I caught my eye from that list that you were just showing, that, again, it's a different theme, so it caught my eye. It's called Consumption, a strategy game about food choices. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I'd like to take a look at that one for sure and consider backing that one. Yeah.
Cool.
So those are my two picks.
Yeah, Fire in the Library. I didn't know it was coming out on Kickstarter, so that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Within a couple of days.
Oh, wow.
It should
Okay.
be starting within a few days. Yeah.
Cool. And what about you, Mandi? What are you going to back this year?
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm like, ooh, this one. So actually, I have one that came out already, and I'm surprised, Annette, that you haven't backed this one yet. Dice Settlers.
Oh, it's on my remind me later. So I'm probably gonna click on it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I saw Maggie and I'm like, oh, where's Annette? What? Annette hasn't backed this yet.
Yeah, it's the extermination part that I'm kind of like hesitant on.
I know, but then they got me at like 50 custom dice, and then the whole kind of like it's a 4XX feel, but it kind of seems like it has a bit of like a Euro touch to it. I don't know. It seems like it has some very interesting elements kind of mixed in with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that one, I don't know, seems really interesting to me. Harry Potter would have been on my list because it was on Kickstarter. Yeah, I'm a little bitter about this, but now it's on pre-order, so I'm a little sad, to be honest. And then quickly, I'm just kind of scrolling because my page just kind of disappeared. I had it open here. There was another game on here that was coming out from, I think it's the one that you had mentioned, Caryl. Believe it or not, it was actually very interesting to me. The one with
Vital Lacerda?
Yeah. Well, I love Vital Lacerda. So what was the name of it?
Escape Plan.
That's it. I have to say, it's different than what he normally does. So I was like, oh, this looks kind of good. And, I mean, I love Vital. We've got the Portuguese connection. And then, for me, it was like perfect. So that is another one that it looks interesting to me. I have about 20 others on here that I would love, but we'll just stick with those two.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks so much, everyone. This Kickstarter is a beast for our wallets.
Yes.
Constantly, there's so many good things out there that, I mean, it hits everyone's mark. So no matter what type of games you play, or there's so much variety in it, and the production's like upgrading. It gets better and better. So yeah, and the community is able to say something. So I guess Kickstarter is on the up still. I don't think it'll ever diminish. But if you all want to just mention again where we can find you online, we'll go ahead and start with Caryl.
Yeah, so if you want to find me online, you can find me on the To Die For Games channel doing content with Mandi. We're on a bit of a small hiatus, but we're jumping back to it, so we'll be back at it. And if you want to find me on Twitter or Instagram, it's at Caryl Has No Tan.
Cool. And then Cathy?
I am on Twitter. I run the Our Turn Podcast Twitter account, which is at Our Turn Podcast. We also have a Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Our Turn Podcast. And I just want to mention my co-host, Sarah, she does a daily Kickstarter recommendation on the Facebook page. So if you're interested in seeing what a true Kickstarter addict thinks is neat on Kickstarter, check out our Facebook page. And then we also have a guild on Board Game Geek, which is guild number 2600. And our website is ourturnpodcast.com.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Cool. And then before I sign off,
we have to
mention
in our chat.
Fireball Island.
How can we forget about this?
I know. I was like, how did we forget? I saw it and I even wrote it down. And so I'm like, okay. But Fireball Island, it's an older game. Restoration Games is doing it again. They're bringing it back, and they're gonna upgrade it. And I've seen pictures of like the Fireball Island, like monster mountain, and then I just seen like the 3D track. It looks like, I don't know, the development of this, since it's going to be on Kickstarter, I'm pretty sure it's going to do really good.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
I agree.
They have a prototype that they're putting on tour, so they're going to travel to Canada and the US, and the one copy they have that is like, I guess, fully molded in plastic to show off is going to be touring around. So I think they said it won't be until after PAX East, so after the first week of April.
Yeah.
But if you want to see it,
we're hoping to potentially have someone from the team on the podcast. So cross fingers we can get that all sorted.
That'd be kind of cool if it can go through you and then it can end up like with Suzanne, like at the other end.
Well, because Suzanne does work for restoration, so you would
Right.
think that this would have been like at the forefront of my mind. But, yeah.
Cool. Well, again, I'm Annette Nettersplays. You can find me all over the internet. So I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And also I have my segment Applied Mechanics on Board Game Breakfast. And yep, so you can find me everywhere. And also my board game Gizmo is on Twitter and Instagram. He's my bird. He's not here right now because he's super loud and annoying, but he's sweet. So you could also follow him. And then Mandi.
So sorry, my dogs are getting crazy, so I'll do this really quick. So I'm Mandi, and you can find me on Today. Oh, hold on. There we go. Sorry, he wants to be in the shot. Okay, here we go. We got two of them here. So Coco and Mello. You can find me on To Die For Games doing videos. You can also find me on the Dice Tower doing some videos, but mostly doing the podcast. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, pretty much everywhere you can think of, you will find me.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Cathy, for joining us today, too.
Thank you for having me. I've had a great time.
And thanks to the chat. The chat's been really great. And I'm happy to see some like colleagues in there and regulars. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone.
All right. I guess.
Well, bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.
bye.